Homework number 11 on linear relationships. Let's start with graphing lines using the slope and the y-intercept. So for each question, you'll be given the slope value and the y-intercept number. Remember that in order to graph a line, you start first at the y-intercept point. The y-intercept point is a value that lies on the y number line axis. So if the y-intercept is 2, that means it is the point 0, 2. And you would click once with your mouse here. Then, in order to draw the line, you will need to follow the slope. Slope is always a fraction. If your value is not a fraction, then you will need to fill in an invisible 1 in the denominator. That will tell you how much you change along the y-axis, also known as the rise, and how you change along the x-axis, also known as the run. So what we'll do is go to our y-intercept, and we will move 2 units up, that's the delta y, and then 1 unit right. And that is where we're going to click to draw our second point. So now I'm going to use my mouse to draw this line. Again, I'm going to click first at the y-intercept, 1 click. Then I'm going to move my mouse by starting at the black dot that I clicked already and following the slope, up 2, over 1. And now my line is complete. Let's try this again. This time I have a y-intercept of 6. So I'll make 1 click on the 6. Then, in order to draw my line, I need to move along the y-axis, -2, and along the x-axis, invisible, +1. For the next question, I'll start at my y-intercept of -1 with 1 click, and then I follow the slope, -1, -2, -3. Now I have to move along the x-axis, invisible, +1. In this final example, our slope is actually already given in fraction form, so we don't use the number 1 this time. We're going to go to our y-intercept at -3, and this time our slope is up 4 over 5. Rise of 1, 2, 3, 4, a run of +5. Once I click, my line will be created. Now let's take a look at the next topic. Graphing lines from equations is the same exact question, except you need to know which number is the y-intercept and which number is the slope. So again, to review, a y-intercept is the constant in the b position in the y equals mx plus b sentence. So since our equation has a -1, that means our b value, or our y-intercept, is -1. The slope is in the m position. The coefficient of x is your slope. So for us, the coefficient is 6. So the m value, or the slope, will be up 6 over 1. Remember, slope is always a fraction. So I'm going to plot just like I did in the last lesson. Start at -1 for my y-intercept, and then rise 6, run 1. Once I click again, my line will be drawn. Let's try this one more time. Our y-intercept is the constant at the end of the sentence. So we're going to plot our first point on the y-axis at -2. Then our slope is the coefficient of x. If it is not a fraction, you put a 1 underneath. Now from this y-intercept, we will travel up 5 over 1. The third section will give you a line that's already drawn and ask you to find the slope. So you're going to be given this blue line here, and you're going to be asked to click twice to make a single segment. But to find a slope, you need two segments, because two segments will make your slope triangle. So I need to find a perfect corner point, which is not here, but it is definitely there. Then I'm going to scan along my line until I find another perfect corner point. And as you notice here, when I make a mark at my perfect corner points, they all seem to follow the same rise and run pattern. Rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. So what you're going to do with your mouse is you're going to click one time at the corner point, and then you're going to click one time again with how much you want to rise. That's your first segment. Now I'm going to click that same orange point, and I'm going to move to the side. That's my run. Now I have created my slope triangle. In the answer box down here, I'm going to type my rise and run as a fraction. So rise was 1, then I'll use the division or backslash key to write my run. Rise of 1, run of 2. Let's try this again. If you need to, you can pinch and zoom on your Chromebook so that you can more clearly see where these perfect corner points will be. I see one here, and here, and here. So these are pretty close together. Again, with my mouse, I'm going to click one time on a perfect corner point. Then I'm going to move up or down the y-axis. Then I'm going to click again to draw my run. So it looks like I have a slope of 1 over 1. Now after you type your slope and you've reduced it, check the sign of your line. Is this a positively or negatively tilted? This is negative, so I need to put a negative sign in front of my 1. So one more time, find a perfect corner point anywhere along your line, and then you're going to click up or down, then you're going to click that same point again and move left or right. Once you have that perfect triangle, you're going to type the slope in the answer box as a fraction or a reduced number. For us, we have 2 over 1. That can also be written as just 2. Now check the sign of your line. The line is moving uphill, so our answer should be positive. One last time, click your mouse on a perfect corner point, then move up or down to click again. You will have a perfect vertical line here. Then click that point right on top of the orange dot you clicked before, click it again, and then move to the side. Now you'll notice here I don't quite touch that blue line. So I'm going to click that dot to take it away and click this dot to take it away as well. And if you can't get it to do that, you can just click right in the middle of this segment and it makes the whole thing disappear. So if I zoom in a little bit here, I might be able to better see where my perfect corner points are. So I see this y-intercept, but now this is where my next perfect corner point will be. So as I'm clicking with my mouse once, and then all the way down here, and then over. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, down 4, over 3. Don't forget to check the sign of your slope answer, -4/3. All right, the next topic asks us to write the equation if we're given the graph of a line. So here in my graph, I notice immediately that I have a y-intercept of -3. That means my b value is -3. When I draw a slope triangle between any two points, I'm going to rise 3 and run 2. So that means my slope is +3 over +2. All you need to do is put those numbers into this equation. The b value goes there, the m value goes here. So our sentence is going to be y equals 3/2 x, and then instead of a minus sign here, right, we're going to put, instead of a plus sign here, we're going to put a minus 3. So 3/2 x minus 3. And you'll type it in the answer box down here. Be careful, we don't want the x in the fraction. We want it to the side. One more time. Identify your y-intercept. Again, for us, it's -3. That's the b value. And then draw a slope triangle between any of these two blue points. So it looks like I go down 6 and over 5. Now my line is going down 6 over 5. So my slope will be negative. So y equals -6/5 x minus 3. And type your answer here. Let's check out the next section, finding slope from 2 points. Whenever you find slope from 2 points, your brain should automatically see this formula here. If you're given 2 points, you have an x1 and a y1, and then the other point is x2 and y2. Simply draw your giant subtraction fraction and put the numbers in the right places. y2 is first, y1 is second. In the denominator, x2 is first, and x1 is second. Now notice that your formula has a negative sign and your number has a negative sign. So sometimes you'll get 2 minuses in a row. So 2 minus 6 over -12 minus -2. You may want to use your calculator, or you can use the online calculator in the Google Classroom. Simply click that link in the stream, type a fraction here, and fill those numbers in. Again, it was 2 minus 6 over -12 minus -2. Once I press enter, it will give me my reduced slope fraction, 2/5. So we'll type that here in the answer field. Let's do this one more time. Again, your giant subtraction fraction, your y1 and your y2, and then your x1 and your x2. Remember, y's always go in the numerator. So -8 minus -8. And then in the denominator, x2 is -9, x1 is -10. So we're going to open that calculator again, and we're going to type in that fraction. So type your fraction button, type -8 minus -8, and then in the denominator, -9 minus -10. So our slope is 0. Let's try one last problem. We'll start our slope formula as a giant subtraction fraction, and we always put our y's in the numerator. So we're going to do 18 minus 6, and we always put our x's in the denominator. And if we started with the second point, we will start with the second x over here. So -4 minus -4. Get your calculator ready. 18 minus 6 over -4 minus -4. Now if you get an error message, divide by 0, that means that your slope is undefined. And you'll need to click this button right here and submit your answer. The next topic asks you to write the equation of the line if we give you a point and one slope. So we are going to use this formula, y equals mx plus b, by erasing and replacing the m value and erasing and replacing the x and y values. When we do that, that will give us a sentence with just the letter b in it. So our y is 3, our m is -4/3, and our x is -6. Now all of that is going to be in front of the plus of b. So all of this we're going to erase and replace. And when we do that, we can compute this math over here. -4 times -6 is 24. 24 divided by 3 is 8. Now, I can solve the equation for b by subtracting 8 from both sides and giving me -5. Now I'm going to go back to my original formula, but this time I don't erase all 3 letters. I erase only the m, which I was given. I know it is -4/3. And I'm going to erase the b, which I just found, which is -5. So I also need to erase that plus sign, because I need to put a -5 here. Let's type that into our answer field. Y equals -4 division sign 3, arrow out, x minus 5. Let's do this one more time. Again, we know an x, we know a y, we know an m. So in our equation y equals mx plus b, we're going to erase the y, and we're going to replace it with the y value, which is -4. We're going to erase the m and the x, and we're going to replace both of them with the appropriate number. The m is -4, the x is 2. I'm going to compute this right here, and then I'm going to solve for b. This time I'm going to add 8 to both sides and get b is equal to 4. Go back to the beginning, but this time don't erase y, m, and x. Erase only the m and the b. M was given to us, -4, and b was found, +4. Type it in the answer field and submit. The last topic is the same as the one we just did, except they're not going to tell you the slope. So you have an additional work step here. You need to take these 2 points and find the slope yourself using the slope formula. Then I can use that point and slope strategy. So first, I need to find my slope. So my giant subtraction fraction will have y's on top, so y minus -1, and then we will have x's on the bottom. So for us, that will be 6 minus -6. So here we're going to get 2, and here we're going to get 12, so my slope is 1/6. You can use your calculator to figure that out. Now, in my equation, I need a slope number, which I just found, but I also need an x and y point. And I've got 2 of them right here. But I like this one better because it has no negative signs. So I'm going to use this x and this y. So again, I'm going to come back to my original equation. I'm going to erase my y, and I'm going to replace it with the y value of 1. So I'm going to replace it with a 1. Now I'm going to erase my m, which I did all that work for down here. I'm going to replace it with a 1/6. And now the last part, I'm going to erase the letter x, and I'm going to replace it with the x point here, which is 6. I'm going to compute. 1 is equal to 1 plus b, minus 1 from both sides, and I get b is equal to 0. So again, to recap, my slope, or m value, is 1/6, and my b value was 0. So now, in my equation, I will fill in my slope, and I'll fill in my y-intercept. Now technically, a plus 0 is not needed, so I can write just this equation. So y equals 1/6x, or you could write the plus 0, it won't take any points off. One last time, you'll need to find the slope yourself, y minus y over x minus x and once you find your slope, you choose any point you like. You can choose this one, or you can choose that one. I'm going to choose this one. So I go back to my original outline, y equals mx plus b, and I erase 3 letters. I erase the y, I erase the m, I erase the x. The y is 3, the slope is negative 2/3, and the x is also 3. I'm going to compute this math here, and then I'm going to solve for b. So b is 5, and the slope is negative 2/3. So if b is 5 and the slope is negative 2/3, my equation will be y equals negative 2/3 with an x on the side and then a plus 5. And that concludes homework number 11.